This 220-room barge anchored off England's south coast is part of the UK government's solution to housing refugees arriving on its shores. But things haven't gone according to plan.
So you're happy to have those men here?
Yeah, I am happy.
So what about your grandchildren?
Migrants are now being taken off the barge today because Legionella bacteria has been discovered in the water supply.
The Bibby Stockholm, I mean, is the government's policy on migration cursed?
Bibby Stockholm is about how to house people when they arrive in the UK. So they have used this ship, or they've tried to, only they found that the ship itself wasn't fit for purpose.
This three-storey ship that can accommodate 500 people has been compared to the notorious prison ships used to house convicts in the Victorian era.
How inhumane it is as well in the 21st century to be accommodating people in barges.
But unlike the barges of old, asylum seekers on the Bibby Stockholm can leave and go into town. The 39 refugees on board were temporarily evacuated just days after moving in last month, while authorities try to clean up a Legionella outbreak. The UK Home Office is also facing two legal challenges. The Fire Brigade Union and the local mayor described the vessel as a potential death trap.
If there were a fire and you have a lot of people in smoky, panicky conditions trying to escape down those thin corridors, having to open these fire doors on the way, it doesn't bear thinking about.
It's not the first time the Bibby Stockholm has been used to house asylum seekers and offshore workers. But the barge's arrival has created division in the Portland community.
I think we are overrun as it is.
They're illegal immigrants as far as I'm concerned. Just send them back where they come from.
We should be looking after these people.
We have no hospital. We don't have a minor injuries unit. We've got one GP practice for 13,500 to 14,000 people. We've got one dentist. And if you want to get on or off Portland, there's a single carriage road. I could go on, but again, if there had been any kinds of consultations, everybody would be aware of just how unsuitable a place in terms of its infrastructure Portland is.
While the Bibby Stockholm creates waves in the UK, what's lesser known is the company contracted to operate the vessel is an Australian publicly listed company.
Corporate Travel is a successful Australian business that's focused around business travel bookings over many years. It has a large shareholder base in Australia and across the world. And in recent years, it's moved into a new line of business, which again is represented by the Bibby Stockholm.
During COVID, Corporate Travel Management organised repatriation flights and ran quarantine hotels for the UK government. It secured the $3 billion Bibby Stockholm contract in April. Ed John is from the Australian Council of Superannuation Investors. He has serious concerns about the company's latest venture and the potential liability to Corporate Travel Management and shareholders.
This new area of operation comes with some very significant human rights and regulatory risks, and any incident could have pretty significant human impacts as well as a brand and reputational impact on the company, which is a concern for shareholders.
Brisbane-based Managing Director Jamie Ferris declined an interview, but insists shareholders he's spoken to are comfortable. He had this to say to investors last month.
We firmly believe humanitarian and crisis travel logistics is a natural extension of what we do, of our value proposition, and this really has become a constant global requirement. What is not part of our remit is duty of care, security, infrastructure, vessel designs, other accommodation structures and management.
I think one of the concerns is in these sorts of situations you can outsource your operations, but if any incidents happen, the reputational and brand impact very quickly lands on your doorstep as a company. even if the issue sits in your supply chain.
One of my top priorities as Prime Minister is to stop the boats.
The Bibby Stockholm has become a symbol of the UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak's Australian-style approach to refugees.
Illegal migration is simply unfair.
Thousands travel by boat across the English Channel from France. Last month, 6 asylum seekers drowned making the journey.
Today we are introducing new legislation to keep my promise to you, to stop the boats.
It was an effective election slogan used by Tony Abbott, which helped him win government a decade ago.
We are trying to stop the boats. We are trying to stop the boats.
They're not seeking security, they're destination shopping. If they want to pay a people smuggler and try and circumvent the system and game the Refugee Convention, well, they can be processed offshore. I think that will work from the Australian experience. That's the advice I've given them.
Former UK High Commissioner Alexander Downer was Australia's longest-serving Foreign Affairs Minister and involved in setting up offshore processing under John Howard. He's on a panel advising the Rishi Sunak government on its refugee policy.
I mean, my advice is that in Australia's case, through the use of Nauru and Manus Island, a little bit of turning back the boats and so on, but showing an intolerance of people smugglers bringing the people into the country through those dangerous methods, it's been very successful.
Human rights organisation Amnesty International says the UK government is setting itself up for failure by copying Australia's hardline approach to asylum seekers.
We still have people suffering here in Australia and around the world as a direct result of the offshore processing regime here in Australia, and 14 people have died. It's unfathomable that the UK government have taken this on board.
Back in Portland, Carolyn Parks has a message for corporate travel management and its other investors.
I think what you've done is absolutely inhumane. You're profiting out of the misery and desperation of asylum seekers, some of the most vulnerable people in the world. And for the shareholders, please bring your board to account. Please get them to behave in a humane manner. I'm sure they can make you lots and lots of money by doing nice things rather than inflicting this misery on vulnerable asylum seekers and our community.